Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Father Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life. Thank you for watching this election series. This is another episode in our electionvideos.org, where we try to help our fellow believers and fellow citizens to prepare for this year's elections. Well, the United States Catholic bishops have given us a lot of guidance about voting, and the best document, the most comprehensive statement that the entire body of bishops has made on this topic is called Living the Gospel of Life, a Challenge to American Catholics. I have this relatively brief document right in front of me, and if you want to learn and study more about it, you can go to gospeloflife.net. We even have a study guide on this particular document. I want to focus in on one paragraph of it that really says a lot in just a few sentences. The bishops write, "We encourage all citizens, particularly Catholics, to embrace their citizenship, not merely as a duty and privilege, but as an opportunity to meaningfully participate in building the culture of life. Every voice matters in the public forum. Every vote counts. Every act of responsible citizenship is an exercise of significant individual power. We must exercise that power in ways that defend human life, especially those of God's children who are unborn, disabled, or otherwise vulnerable. We get the public officials we deserve. Their virtue or lack thereof is a judgment not only on them, but on us. Because of this, we urge our fellow citizens to see beyond party politics, to analyze campaign rhetoric critically, and to choose their political leaders according to principle, not party affiliation or mere self-interest." Well, that says a lot. Those sentences are very important. And notice what they're doing. They're giving us moral guidance on how to form our electoral choices. Focus in on principle, they are saying. Now, this doesn't take anything away from what I told you in a previous video, that the party does matter. The party matters because you have to know what they stand for. You have to know whether they are advancing the principles you believe in or whether they are not, or they may be acting against those principles. When the bishops say vote according to principle, the way that you evaluate that is both in terms of the candidate and in terms of the party that the candidate represents. But I want to focus on another dimension here too, which is analyze campaign rhetoric critically. In other words, put on your thinking cap. Don't just accept something at face value because someone said it. Investigate it. Ask more questions. Follow up on it. Do some research. Get to the details. Get to the specifics. And I want to go through an exercise with you that gives a good example of this process. I have here the campaign rhetoric of a particular candidate. I want to read a few phrases and then show you how I would analyze it critically. This particular candidate says, "We are in a battle for the soul of America. It's time to remember who we are. We are Americans, tough and resilient. We choose hope over fear, science over fiction, truth over lies, and unity over division." Well, let's stop right there for a moment. Now, campaign rhetoric. It all sounds good, right? Campaign rhetoric is always going to sound good. But the point is, what is it really saying? Sometimes rhetoric is just platitudes, and it's like, what do you mean by that? But let's take, for example, this phrase here, science over fiction. Does it make scientific sense to say that a baby in the womb is not a baby? That a child yet unborn is not human? What does science tell us? Science has been telling us more and more over recent decades how very human that baby is right from fertilization. The science is clear. Science over fiction. It's a fiction to think that the baby becomes a human being only in the birth process. That's complete scientific nonsense. The baby is a human being right from fertilization. And to say that we choose science over fiction, that should raise the question in someone's mind, well, what do you say about the status of the unborn child? Let's look at another piece of campaign rhetoric. One candidate said, "We treat each other with dignity. We leave nobody behind." Now let's understand something. It is very, very popular and common for candidates to say things along these lines. We embrace everybody. We welcome everyone. We want to leave no one behind. It's actually a very beautiful and apt saying, right? We want to leave nobody behind. We want to respect and, the word used here is treat each other with dignity. Well, these are catchphrases. What they actually mean or how the candidate is actually going to pursue those things is only answered when you start talking about the specific policy positions that the candidate takes. And once again, in regard to the most fundamental moral issue, the one I'm dealing with all the time, whether we are going to continue to allow a holocaust of unborn children, this is a perfect example of a critical question. When you say we leave nobody behind, do you also include the unborn children? You see, now we get down to where the rubber hits the road. Now we get down into very specific policy statements. You say we leave nobody behind. If you allow abortion, you're leaving a whole segment of humanity behind. All the children in the first 9 months of their existence, you're leaving them behind because you're failing to give them legal protection. So as the bishops say, analyze campaign rhetoric critically. What you have to do here is put on your thinking cap, sit back, digest the words, and then start asking questions about how those words apply to very specific policy issues, starting with the most important and fundamental one, the right to life itself. Well, I hope this is helpful to you, friends. And remember, you can find out where a candidate stands on policy if they have been an elected official already. Look at their voting record. These voting records are public. If they've been a member of the U.S. Congress, for example, how have they voted on various bills? It's easy to go back and find that information. And we'll be doing another entire segment on how you find that information. Analyze campaign rhetoric critically. Think carefully. Discuss and research specifically. And you will be equipped to make the best possible voting decision. If you want to see more videos in this series, go to electionvideos.org. And for our overall election website, well, that's prolifevote.com. Hope to see you there. Thank you, friends. This is Father Frank Pavone of Priests for Life.